Welcome to Ask the Pro. I'm Chris Dufay, and this is where I'm here to give you what's needed to create the online business, the money, and importantly, the freedom that you want. The Ask the Pro show has been upgraded, and it's also got a new home, which is turningproacademy.com. Now, if you go to turningproacademy.com, all the podcast episodes, video episodes, and in-depth articles are there waiting for you right now. Plus, if you go to turningproacademy.com/start here, then you can get access to the free coaching guides. So if you want to know how to double or triple your clients in just a few weeks, or if you want to know how to start and grow your online business, be sure to go to turningproacademy.com/start here to get access to it now. Welcome to the Ask the Pro show. I'm Chris Dufay, and this is where I'm giving you what's needed so you can create the online business, the money, the freedom, and more importantly, the life that you want. Now, this episode, I'm introducing you to Craig Harper. This interview was actually recorded for the Body and Health Summit and also for the My Body Burns podcast. But there is so much here that is going to help you personally, help you as a coach get your clients better results, help you be able to grow the business that you want, that I have to share it with you. Craig is I absolutely have a ton of respect for Craig. He is a true leader in the fitness world and has so much to offer. And in this episode, we're delving into why most people fail, what 35 years of watching people screw up and succeed has come about to what Craig can help you be able to take the shortcut to be able to succeed more. What are all the different jigsaw pieces when it comes to body and life? And how can you better take care of it for yourself and be a better coach? And what are all the different emotional and psychological component parts for our body? Now, if you are loving the Ask the Pro show, then please share this out and leave a review as well. Now, if I do read out your iTunes review, get in contact with me because I'll be giving you the online fitness business blueprint for free, which is going to be saving you a very cool $200. But more importantly, just before we jump into this episode, if you are wanting to start or grow your online business, or if you're wanting to build your face-to-face fitness business, or you want to do both of those, you're probably finding out that it's a bit confusing, and really you need to find out what are the next best steps that you need to be taking. And to take out all the confusion for you, click on over to Chris Dufay, that's chrisdufay.com/start here. This is where you're going to be able to take the quick fitness business quiz. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you access to the coaching guides that are meant to actually take you from where you are right now to where you want to go. So it cuts out all the confusion and it literally just gives you the steps for you to take. So there's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that were poured into actually creating this. So click on over to chrisdufay.com/start here to take the free quiz and get free access to the coaching guides as well. Now let's bring on Craig, and I'm really looking forward to you coming back with all your questions and all your feedback and joining us in the private Facebook group that is the Fitness Business Success Circle. So I'll see you there after this episode. Craig Harper, thank you so much for taking the time out and coming on here, mate. I'm absolutely pumped. I'm going to spread to the audience straight up that we were talking at an event in Melbourne. You talked before I did, and mate, I was loving everything that was coming out of your mouth, the way your message, how you deliver it, absolutely everything. You're a man of authenticity, integrity, and power when it comes to giving someone what they actually need. So I want to say, Craig, real deeply, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Chris. It's a pleasure, man. Love to be here.
All right. You said something before, mate, that I just absolutely loved. 35 years of watching people fuck up and succeed. And if somebody keeps failing, it's not about their body. Profound and so true. And I want you to delve deeper into this. How has this come about, firstly? And then let's break down into what's behind the failure.
Well, I think So let's get back to basics. Why do people go to a gym, or why do people go to a trainer, or why do people go on a diet, or why do people pick up a fucking self-help book, or why do people buy an exercise bike for their lounge room? We all do that for one reason, and that is because we want to create change. We want to create, life change, body change, physically, mentally, emotionally, practically, real-world results. So let's talk about how change works. So, change is basically external change, so physiological change, being leaner, lighter, fitter, more power, more speed, different body composition, all of those things. Of course, there's a practical and a physical component with, micros and macros and training and progressive overload and all of that stuff. But then there's a deeper element to that, which is all the stuff that drives that. So the thinking, the beliefs, motivation, discipline, organisation, time management, structure, accountability, attitude, beliefs, all of those things come into, the big picture in terms of what we're going to do, be, create and change. And so my background, as you said, I started working in gyms when I was 18. I went to uni a bit later. I got a degree in exercise science. I've written a few books. I became a university lecturer, all that kind of stuff. And I opened Australia's first personal training business. And so I've worked with thousands of people and thousands of bodies. And I keep those things separate because they are, in a way. And so I've been lucky enough to be able to stand back and observe and be involved in and learn from what's happening with real human beings in a real setting, with real goals, real emotions, real challenges, real genetics, real limitations, real strengths, and go, all right, so how do we actually help people change forever? Not how do we help people get in change for Christmas or their birthday. How do we help people get in shape for Christmas or their birthday or a school reunion or some kind of event? But how do we help people transform from the inside out, from an emotional, psychological level up? And so I think, one of the fundamental things is that for whatever reason, a range of reasons, we don't finish what we start. So in Australia, I think the average active gym membership is somewhere around 15-20%, which means that about 80-85% of current gym members either rarely go or never go. So what that means is that gym owners can, and this is not their fault, this is the way the human condition is that gym owners can sell memberships that people won't use, and I'm not blaming anyone for that, I'm just stating a fact. And so what we know is that people get excited, they get motivated, there's a bit of an initial inertia and momentum. But we also know that because we're human beings and we go through peaks and troughs of motivation and excitement, that invariably that wanes. And when that wanes, so do the behaviours. And when the behaviours stop, the results stop. So even though, and I'll shut up in a second, but even though, when I was 18, I started working gyms. By the time I was 19, 20, I realised I could write programs for people. I wasn't awesome at it, but I was okay a couple of years in, and I could teach them how to squat or deadlift or explain protein, fat, carbs, or talk a little bit about progressive overload and physiological adaptation and energy systems and all that stuff, and go, this is how you use that equipment, that's how you use that equipment, here's your program, all the best. And then invariably they would stop coming, or they would keep training, but they wouldn't train at a level where their body actually had to adapt. And so when we took 100 people who started 1 year ago and then we looked at the same 100 people down the track, the results were at best very average. And then I started to think, I exist in this industry which understandably focuses primarily on all things physical. But maybe getting in shape is largely an emotional and a psychological journey with a physical outcome. And so while I still obviously value and respect the importance of prescribing exercise, sets, reps, intensity, volume, all of those things, especially being who I am, but I also think an important thing that we need to be aware of and realistic about in our approach is who I'm dealing with. Not what genetics do they have, because I'm not talking to a fucking hamstring or a shoulder or a six-pack or a body composition. I'm talking to a mental, emotional, spiritual creature who lives in a biological spacesuit for 80 years. That's who I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with a bunch of ideas and thoughts and beliefs and values and fears. And that's who I need to connect with. Because when I connect with that person, when I start to understand why has this guy tried 28 times to get in shape, and here he is, he's 45, he's morbidly obese, and I know it's not about his genetics. His genetics play a role, but it's largely not about that. Or why does this woman tell me on Monday that she hates her body and on Tuesday she's eating cake? You know, and there's no judgment in that. There's just questions.
Yes.
And so I think the thing that we need to be aware of is the behaviours and drivers and thinking that underlie the physical stuff. And once we start to embrace this, hey, I'm not training bodies, I'm working with people who inhabit bodies, then we become a lot more effective at what we do.
Brilliant. Okay. I am such a big fan of all of this, and I never want you to shut up, Craig, so don't ever think that. And
Sure.
So when we start breaking down, how do you see, maybe kind of like, let's just draw ourselves back a little bit, what are the jigsaw pieces that you're seeing of what we have to deal with? And let's start really delving into, especially the emotional and psychological parts, to then start getting some steps forward.
Okay, so there's a really interesting area of research or study called metacognition, Chris, and metacognition is thinking about thinking, right? It's essentially the science of thinking about thinking. And the thing is, for you, it's hard to be objective about you because you're you. I can be more objective about you because I'm on the outside looking in, and you can be more objective about me than I can. So it's trying to the first step in helping us change, period, is a shift in consciousness and self-awareness, so that, for example, I start to question, why do I say to Chris on Monday, mate, I really want to change my body, be lean, fit, strong, healthy, functional, I want to fucking kill it. And then on Tuesday, I'm doing things which are at complete odds with what I said 24 hours ago. Why do I do that? And again, this is not about self-loathing. This is about self-awareness. Because until I start to change my thinking, see, here's the problem with things like, or here's the potential problem with things like 8, 10, 12-week transformation programs, is that people go into this process of saying, right, I'm doing this thing for 10 weeks. I'm going to change my body. And so for 10 weeks or so, on a conscious level, they're changing their choices, behaviours, thinking, socialising, lifestyle, all of that stuff. So on a conscious level, they're changing that. But on a subconscious level, they're going, but this is only for 70 days.
Yes.
So they're not actually changing their default setting. They're just temporarily changing what they're doing. So how do we actually really change on a deeper level? Well, we need to turn those conscious, right? Remember, 5% of what happens in your mind or thereabouts is conscious, 95% is subconscious. So in order for me to, if I say, all right, well, I'm a 53-year-old endomorph, I can't change my genetics, I can't change my chronological age, I can't change my history, but what I can do is I can create a way of thinking, a subconscious program that just means all the things that I should be doing just become autopilot, rather than the thing that I do when I'm in the zone. Because the problem with being in the zone is that you'll be out of the zone soon. Now, if you only do the things that work, even in your business, right? If we only do the things that work for our body, our health, our wellness, our ambition, our intentions, our goals, if we only do the things that are going to get us there when we're pumped and excited, we're never going to get there because no one's permanently pumped and excited. So it's trying to figure out, where do I want to be? Now, whether or not that's with your business, your book that you're writing, your academic pursuits, or your body, where do I want to be? And then what behaviours do I need to wrap around those, and what psychology do I need to wrap around that intention or that destination that need to be completely fucking non-negotiable, hardwired into my cognitive DNA. So I do these things automatically. I don't do these things when I talk to Chris and get pumped for 3 weeks and I lose my way. So just like we clean our teeth on autopilot, we do these things. So when people say to me, which I get asked all the time, how do you stay motivated? You know, like I started training in the gym when I was 14, so that's 39 years of training in the gym. And people go, how do you stay motivated? And the answer is I don't stay motivated because I don't need to get motivated because it's genuinely a habit.
Yep.
It's genuinely, I don't say that because it sounds good. It's just a locked-in behaviour.
Yeah, totally.
Am I obsessive? No. Am I weird about it? No. If I can't train one day for some reason, am I okay? Of course. But for the most part, 360 days of the year, I'm going to hit the gym or I'm going to go for a walk or I'm going to hit the bag or whatever it is I'm going to do, move my body, because that's what works for my body. Because I want to be a 65-year-old that looks, feels and functions like a 40-year-old. And I don't mean that from an ego point of view. I mean that from a function point of view and from a fulfillment point of view.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a split with so much more for you. Now, I know you're listening and tuning in because you know how important your health is and how this can also catapult your business. This is why I'm very happy to say that this podcast is sponsored by My Body Blends and my favorite, the superfood elixir, the powerful greens drink. Now, this is designed specially to boost energy, aids detoxification, enhances the ability to burn fat, supports healthy carbohydrate metabolism, and best of all, is voted best tasting greens drink. Now, myself and the My Body Blends team are looking for ambassadors to join. So you and your clients get the health benefits plus adding in a strong income stream for you and your business. The ambassador program, which is by application only, means you get exclusive access to sell My Body Blends products like Superfood Elixir to your clients, plus giving you the special ambassador pricing and bonuses. So once you become an ambassador, you can join the other top health and fitness players that are adding thousands to their week's income. Now, there is only a limited number of ambassadors we are taking on board, as this is a tribe leading the way together. So to apply and to join, go to mybodyblends.com/ambassador or add the checkout code that is Turning Pro, all one word, when you're going to get your own superfood elixir to order. Plus, you're going to get free shipping and a bonus to save yourself over $250 instantly. So just use that coupon code Turning Pro in the checkout and you can save over $250 right now, all on mybodyblends.com. I absolutely love this. I hope everyone in the world soaks this in because they need to soak this in. Now, when it comes to putting that conscious into the subconscious, what we're wrapping that around with, what are the practical steps that you can help the listener right now with really trying to grasp this and move forward with? Okay. So if you're listening to this or watch this, you might want to pause this after I say this, because ask yourself this question, and I'll say it slowly. In terms of what I want to, we're talking about you, in terms of what I want to do, be, create, change, and influence, I'll say it again. In terms of what I want to do, be, create, change, and influence, what are my non-negotiables, right? Just get clear around that. Not, I'm going to do it when it's convenient, and the thing is with this, I'm not just saying this because people go, Craig's blunt, or, I'm not blunt, I'm honest. And if you're not totally fucking immersed and you're not really ready to do the work, then don't even ask the question, right? Underlying all of this wisdom and all of these cognitive strategies needs to be fucking passion, right? So if you're just going to go, look, I'll see how I go, you're either all in or you're better off to not see how you go. Get to that point where you go, right, I'm in. Now, that doesn't mean you won't have good and bad days. That's cool. And the same with me. I still have days where I'm not feeling it, but that's cool. I'm still completely bought into the process of exploring my potential, empowering others, living my best life, and seeing what's possible, right? So, in terms of what I want to do, be, create, change, and influence, what are my non-negotiables? So, for example, I don't drink alcohol. I don't do that because it sounds good. I don't do that because I'm a wowser, but I've never had alcohol in my life. I've never been drunk. I've never had a glass of beer. I'm not suggesting that should be anybody else's non-negotiable, but for me,
I go, what's the upside to me getting pissed?
Yeah.
Or what's the upside to... None.
Yeah.
None. Not for me. All my friends can drink, that's cool. There's no judgment in that. I love them, but I don't want to drink. And the good thing about being a grown-up is I get to decide what my rules are. Now, I know that in order for my body and my brain and my mind and my creative self to function optimally, I need to do all the optimal practical things around that: food, hydration, supplements, sleep, stress management, social life, fun, laughing my ass off, riding my motorbike, trying not to get killed on the motorbike, and just fucking doing things that keep me in a good place, so that then, because if I don't manage me, and if you as a coach, teacher, leader, mentor, if you don't manage you, if you are not your management priority, then you can't lead or manage others optimally.
Yeah.
Now, that's not being selfish, but I know if I'm, say, 4 out of 10 physically and 3 out of 10 mentally and emotionally, how can I be a high performer?
Yeah.
And how can I motivate?
Yeah.
How can the unmotivated guy motivate anyone?
You can't give someone what you don't have yourself.
Exactly. So surround yourself with people who drag you up, right? You become who you hang out with. Feed your mind with great, like this thing that you're doing now. The reason that I agreed to it was because I looked at who you had on board. I looked at what you're doing, and you know what? It's a good thing. So what you're doing is you're providing a great resource to the world. And now more and more than ever in 2016, we've got stuff like this at our disposal, which is, and I certainly don't think I'm the high watermark for wisdom or knowledge, but all of a sudden we've got people listening to this guy who's been doing this for 35 years, and certainly I don't know everything, but I know some things. Yeah. Now, no one has to sit in my office and pay for my time. Nobody has to go and buy my book, but they can tune in for 30 or so minutes and benefit from some of my ideas, knowledge, philosophies and experience over that time. And so too with the other great people that you've got involved in this. I'm going to tune in and listen to them. Why? Because in 2016, you can hang out with people in cyberspace who literally influence you and stimulate you and help you grow, even though you might not ever be in the same room as them physically. But these days we don't need to. So I always say if you hang out with fuckwits, you'll become a fuckwit. So just who do I want to, not who do I want to be, but who's got kind of skills and qualities and I guess values and principles and results that I respect? Who do I go, man, he or she is awesome. What can I learn from them? And at the same time, I still stuff up. I still do things. I still do silly things. I still have to unlearn things. And, that part of the becoming better, especially as a leader, is being able to learn, but also to able to unlearn. And there's so much ego in our industry sometimes attached to our knowledge. Yeah. And if you confuse who you are with what you know, you're in trouble because that's ego. Yes. That's ego. And I've so many, like a no-brainer is, so I started in the fitness industry in 82 and probably, for the first 10, 15 years, we're all teaching the food pyramid because that was the standard, And then I got to a point where I went, hey, everyone, fucked up, sorry. Yeah. And I know better now, so I'm going to teach better now. And it's the same with everything. It's, as you learn and grow and evolve and have greater awareness and insight and understanding, then you can pass that on.
I think that's a really good point, because if someone's not evolving, if someone's not changing and going, because like with the food, like science has completely shown that things have changed. And then only a few weeks ago, that article came out in the New York Times showing that the sugar industry paid off the scientists to push the blame of heart disease off to saturated fat, not sugar. Like, it's so people couldn't do anything about it. But I think something you said really profoundly I want to come back to, Craig, was, and this was something interesting, because I said that word a while ago when someone asked. I was like, how do you keep going to the gym each day? I'm like, well, you don't have to feel like it every single day to do it. And I said it's a non-negotiable. So I've been thinking about what are the few things in my day that are non-negotiable. So for me, there's a couple of things that I do every single morning that kind of set me up for the day and I'm ready to rock and roll. And then training is one of those. And I was actually saying, because I said to my wife, because I was like, thank you for understanding that training is one of my non-negotiables, because if I want to train and I want to be able to get that in, I feel like I'm a better person because of that. Obviously, there are days where we can't, and I just want to absolutely sit on the couch and veg out. That's cool. We don't need to have a hissy fit about it. Now, obviously, with your experience, Craig, there's one thing I really want to pull out before we wrap this up. What's the common theme that you've seen from the thousands of bodies and the thousands of people that you've worked with and seen? What's that common theme of what gets them to where they want to go?
I think so. There's internal stuff and external stuff. So the external stuff, the practical stuff, is generally that, you know, they're following something which is, you know, a program, a strategy that makes sense, and that's, you know. So I'll be the exercise scientist for a moment. So for a lot of people, you know, they're not necessarily following something which has been specifically designed for their genetics or for them. They're following something more generic and more, you know, global. So the thing that people need to understand about the way that bodies respond is that because of genetic variability, because we're all different, we all live in different environments, we all have different backgrounds, is that there's no single best anything for anyone, but there's no best single thing that's globally going to work, but there's a best program or a best eating strategy or a best sleep strategy for Chris, and there's also one for Craig, but it won't be the same. So even if we were the same age-ish and the same height and the same weight and we did kind of similar things, there'll still be quite a lot of things which work optimally for you but suboptimally for me. So it's trying to figure out, so on a practical level, figure out the blueprint for you. So on a practical level, things like keeping a food and training diary or a lifestyle diary or an energy or an attitude diary and all of those things where you diarise all the stuff about you, because then what you figure out over time is the blueprint for you, right? So I know what works for me, and what doesn't work for me is RDIs, right? If I followed all the recommendations of what I should do and shouldn't do, I wouldn't look good or feel good or function great. Not that I think I look particularly great, but it's trying to, you know, like I know that I need X amount of sleep. I know that also varies depending on what I do through the day. I know that if I'm sitting writing a book, I might only need, let's just pluck a figure, 1,700 calories for that day because I'm pretty inactive. If the next day I'm super active, I might need 4,000 calories to break even. So our body is a biofeedback system. It's always telling us something. But in 2016, we've become so disconnected, our physiology has become, or our psychology becomes so disconnected from our physiology that we don't pay attention. So your body is incredibly fucking intelligent and it's always telling you something, but we go through life like this. Yeah. Where we go, no, that pain, no, I'll take a painkiller, or no, I'll take an appetite suppressant, or no, I'll take an anti-inflam, or I'll take a sleeping tablet, or I'll take an anti-anxiotic, or this or that. And I'm not saying that we should never take prescribed medicine. I'm saying that a lot of things that we do are not necessarily the best thing for us. So there's the practical thing. And last thing I'll say on a practical level is, as much as you can, when you're trying to change your body, because it is an emotional process largely, when you're doing all the programming stuff, try to de-emotionalise it and be as practical and as strategic as you can. And then the next thing in terms of who gets there and why do people succeed, I think it's two main things. And one is that there's just, people just arrive at a point, and it's kind of almost hard to explain this, but I can tell when someone comes to me and they sit in my office and we have a chat, about 99.9 times out of 100, I know whether or not they're going to do it, and not because of their genetics or their resources or their money, but because of their thinking and because of their attitude sitting in front of me. The truth is that everything comes at a cost. A lot of people don't want to pay the price. So for you to be fit, lean, functional, awesome, high performance, no ego in that, just a condition we want to be in, well, there's lots of work. Yeah. And people like the idea of success. Yeah. People like the idea of an awesome body. People love the theory of transformation, but they don't necessarily want to roll up their sleeves and do it because doing it invariably is uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, sometimes it takes a long time, and it's not always fun. And so the dichotomy is, for us, on the one hand, we are addicted to comfort. We love comfort, right? But comfort isn't where we grow. So where we grow, learn, evolve, adapt, improve, get strong, get empowered, is when we push ourselves. Now, whether or not that's working against physical, mental, or emotional resistance, you know yourself. You go in the gym, if you go through the motions but you don't give your body a reason to adapt, it doesn't need to adapt, because all adaptation is response to stress. So too, emotionally and psychologically, if I don't take chances, if I don't face fears, if I don't make hard decisions, if I don't have hard conversations, if I don't keep going when I really want to give up, I'm going to wake up in a minute. I'll be 5 years old. I'll be 58, not 53, and I'll be having the same conversations about the same bullshit with the same people, and I'll be in a much worse situation. So I ask one simple question with people, and that is, are you really, 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 really ready? And don't just go, oh, yeah, I am, but to do all the things that are required, because, you know, to get where you want to go, one, it's very possible because you're more talented than you know. So I'm on your team. But the truth is, sometimes it's a shit fest. Yes. And it's whether or not you're ready for that.
Mate, every time I talk with you, I come out as a better person. I appreciate that. And that's exactly why I wanted to bring you on here. Like, you brought that all the way around full circle when we came into it, and some really practical steps that we went through. And I'm going to make sure that we link to all these things. Now, Craig, before I let you go, mate, I know the listener as well as myself has just been jazzed about this, but where do we go right now to learn more about yourself and everything that you're doing?
Okay, so probably just for the most part at the moment, my new website's being built, but there's a website called the Craig Harper Show. I should have, which has just got a lot of my stuff on there, but also people can follow me on Facebook, because I have, I do a lot of kind of daily posts, and if I've got anything coming up, people can contact me through there if they want books and things as well, but probably Facebook is the easiest.
Done. Okay, I'll make sure they'll link to all of it, and make sure you let you know when the new website's up, because I'll link to that as well, so everyone can be clicking straight on over. But Craig, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I appreciate the passing of the wisdom. I hope everyone brought their cup to get a bit of a sip from the fountain that you are, mate. So thank you.
Nice metaphor. Thanks, mate. Take it easy.
Thank you so much for being here, and if you've liked this episode, please share it out and make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out. Now, to really get the most out of you being here, go to turningproacademy.com/start here. There you can get access to the free coaching guide. So if you want to know how to double or triple your clients in just a few weeks, or if you want to start and grow your online business, be sure to head on over to turningproacademy.com/start here to get free access to it now. And as always, I'm so thankful for you being here, and I'm really looking forward to you joining next week in the new episode.